I'm Ashley. Ocean pollution is a persistent problem that won't find a solution without effort from everyone. While new ideas for cleanup operations can potentially have the power to clean up the water, it will be impossible without the prevention of further pollution in our oceans. It's an issue that's not frequently discussed in the media or in politics, and thus is largely invisible to the public. So today we'll cover the problems and effects of toxic waste, marine trash, and oil, as well as cover the potential solutions for these problems. So toxic waste, also known as hazardous waste, is generated not only by manufacturers and businesses, but also by households. Waste is toxic if it is poisonous, radioactive, explosive, carcinogenic, mutagenic, teratogenic, or bioaccumulative. They pose a threat to not only our environment, but also to our health. And one cause of toxic waste is improper disposal of batteries, pesticides, cell phones, and computers, as well as toxic chemicals. Another example of toxic pollution would be the Gulf Coast oil spill in 2010, in which an oil rig exploded off the shore and it released an estimated 4.9 million barrels of oil into the water. And we'll discuss this more later. And Stephen Palumbi is a marine biologist who studied the effects of pollution on the fish we eat. In his TED Talk on the subject, he mentions that man-made chemicals like PCBs are consumed by plankton, which are then consumed by predators and eventually make their way to humans. He also says that dolphins will pass PCBs on to their offspring, who often don't survive. Also, in Japan, dolphins used to be frequently sold labeled as whale meat. And not only did these dolphins have high amounts of PCBs, but also DDTs and heavy metals. And since this discovery, there's been drastic improvement in Japanese seafood and labeling, but it does raise questions about the toxicity of the fish that we buy. And now I'll pass on to Semajae. How do you go back? Oh my god. Okay, you just press the there you go.
Hi, I'm Semajae. I'm going to be talking about marine debris. Okay, so marine trash or marine debris is the accumulation of inaccurately discarded garbage or plastic. The science of marine trash is still fairly new, and scientists are currently working to find out the major problems of plastic pollution, both long-term and short-term. There are currently a staggering 5.25 trillion pieces of debris, mainly plastic, in the ocean. Landfills end up in the ocean and, like I stated before, inaccurately discarded garbage. There are currently 269,000 tons of floating plastic on the ocean surface, while 4 million pieces per square kilometer litter the deep sea. Research says that 10% of 200 million tons of plastic end up in the ocean each year. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch, also known as the Pacific Trash Vortex, is a large patch of garbage spreading from North America to Japan. It is in the convergence zone where warm water from the South Pacific meets with cool waters from the Arctic. This is made up of an accumulation of non-biodegradable plastics that turn into microplastics from exposure to sun and wind, thus breaking it down into smaller plastic that sea animals consume and mistake these for food, causing problems such as ruptured organs, and concentrated plastic, which were made with chemicals, release chemicals into the sea animals. When humans consume sea animals as seafood, the chemicals cause increased risk of cancer, infertility, and developmental disorders.
Hello, I'm Spencer, and I'm talking about oil pollution. And one of the major oil pollution occurrences in our history is the worst oil spill in U.S. history, the Deep Oil Horizon oil spill. It lasted 87 days and spewed greater than 150 million gallons of oil into the ocean. Now, scientists believe the chemicals being dispersed would also disperse the oil and create less of a problem, but actually caused the oil to drop down below the surface, which was not realized immediately, and then created marine snow, which was just small oil particles dropping down, collecting phytoplankton, and covering the seafloor with oil. Animal impact includes dolphins and whales who would suck in oil through their blowholes, which would go straight to their lungs, and they would all die. Kemp's Ridley sea turtles are endangered, and whenever they would rise up to the surface to get air, would also suck in oil, and that caused many of them to die, and they only live in the Gulf of Mexico. Birds, on the other hand, would dive in to grab fish, and they would hit oil patches, get covered in oil, and it would cause them to abandon eggs that they had previously laid because they were covered in oil too. Fish larvae would swim around in the ocean, end up sucking in oil and eating anything else that was around, and that caused many fish larvae to die and a decrease in the fish population. For the human impact, tourism greatly decreased because previously white sand and clear beaches became dirty with oil, and that caused a huge economic impact in the South. Fisheries in Louisiana even lost $2.4 billion per year. And when you look at the totals, there were 725 dead birds, 557 oiled, and only 40 cleaned. 324 dead sea turtle, 39 oiled, and only 3 cleaned and released, and 39 dead mammals found. And that was only in the first 55 days of the oil spill.
Hello, my name is Melissa, and I will be talking about the solutions of ocean pollution. The best way to save the ocean is to reduce your footprint size, such as shorter showers, or to turn off the faucet when you're brushing your teeth. Second is to use fewer plastic products, such as reusable water bottles or shopping bags. Taking care of the beach is also an important step. Cleaning up after yourself and not polluting in the first place is going to save the beach. Another step would be to influence the community, such as to spread awareness or to be involved in local organizations to clean up your local beach. Okay? The ocean cleanup is the largest cleanup in history. It focuses on plastic debris. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch is one of the biggest ones that they focus on, and this will be deployed in 2016, and there is a model being already tested for it. The steps to help is the first one, extraction. It is an ocean cleanup array, and it is a floating network of barriers that can extract plastic for recycling. It can also clean up half the Great Pacific Garbage Patch in 10 years' time. The next step is prevention, simply informing the public about the cleanup, and spreading awareness is a great way to help the ocean as well. And the third one is interception. It is a technology deployed in the rivers that will be able to stop new plastic from going into the ocean. The CEO and founder of the Ocean Cleanup is Boyan Slat. He is 20 years old and he is from the Netherlands. When he came across the Ocean Cleanup, he was vacationed in Greece, and when he decided to go swimming, he found out that there was more plastic in the ocean than he saw fish.